What he has done here is he has told public servants that they work for the government directly as public servants, that they are employed specifically to advance the policy agenda of the government, and that they shouldn't be going to regional councils or local councils and submitting on whether raffles should be held or whether Wanaka should be allowed a McDonald's, because that's not what they're employed for in the public service. Doctors at large, and when you say doctors, when the media says doctors, what most of us think are the GP that we speak to, or
and clinicians and and
exactly,
specialists. Yeah.
they are still entirely free. And I agree, it is entirely consummate with their duty to participate in public discourse around this. But what is happening here, Paul, is a clarification of what the public services role is on weighing in on every issue under the sun. And so, is it the right call for a minister to make? Look, from my personal opinion, I think it is. I think the public service strays way beyond the bounds of what is actually constructive to most of our everyday lives. That's my personal view. However, what is very clear from my professional and kind of expertise perspective on free speech, this is not a gagging order. It is entirely legitimate for a government to say, our public servants are to focus on these policy areas, which are our priorities as the elected government. Otherwise, you really end up with their tail wagging the dog, and you end up with a public service that is setting the direction for the government, where there is far less accountability, obviously, of the public service than the government setting these tones. What the Free Speech Union did the moment we heard this was we contacted Nick Chamberlain, the Director of Public Health, who issued the specific instruction, and we contacted the Minister's office. And within a couple of hours, the Minister himself called me up and said, look, I want to clarify what's happened here. And I said, Minister, who does this apply to? Because you have no rights telling doctors that they can't submit to local councils. And he says, absolutely not. This is for public servants. And I said, are they still free in their own capacity as public servants to engage these questions? And he said, of course. So really all this comes down to is, should you and I be paying them for the advice that isn't relevant to the work that they're working on? I think that's fair enough.